And I did check the start record button, so we should be recording as well. Hello and welcome to our newest webinar, Blogging for More Patients, Higher Revenue. In this webinar, we'll take a closer look at blogging, how you can put it to work in your practice for maximum results to attract, connect with, convert, and retain more new patients and stimulate growth for your practice. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. So before we begin, we just want to make sure that folks have turned off their microphones. If you have a question during the webinar, feel free to put it in the Q&A at the end. We'll answer all questions during our Q&A session. And a copy of this webinar and the slides, the video, will be made available to you in the next couple days if you have registered for it. Obviously, if you're attending and you're listening to me right now, you're going to get it. It will also be available on demand at practicebuilders.com/webinars. And I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to join me today. And who is me? I'm Steve Mintz. I'm a senior marketing consultant with Practice Builders. I have 30 years of marketing experience in a variety of marketing disciplines. My philosophy is have an objective, set a goal, figure out how you're going to measure that goal, develop a plan to meet that goal, execute the plan, review the results, and then adjust. And that's similar to what we like to do at Practice Builders as well. So before we go further, I do want to understand a little more about you and what your blogging experiences, I guess. So I guess the first question I'll ask is, does your practice have a blog? If you want to take a few seconds and answer the poll, that would be great. And it looks like the majority of you do not have a blog. So I guess you're on this webinar to figure out what blogging is and what it all means. So you're in the right place. So blogging is an important part of your medical practice website and marketing strategy. It's one of the best ways to add content and to educate your current patients on the best ways to solve their problems, right? Or educate them on the different solutions that you provide. You have content, you have education, you have knowledge, and that can help your current patients. It can also help you to attract new ones. That's because prospective and established patients want to know more about you before they decide to make an appointment at your practice. They want reliable medical information about topics that interest them directly from you, the credentialed expert. And blogs vary widely in terms of content and length. You can have anywhere from 300 words in a blog post up to 1,000, as many as 5,000 words. The average over the course of the past year is just over 1,400 words. And generally that takes the average person about 4 hours to write. So you're talking about 350 words per hour is what someone can write well. Most blogs do focus on educating patients about health conditions and the solutions to their health problems. Blogs can help patients to understand their symptoms, their conditions, what treatment options are available to them, and in the end provide that relevant information. So blogging can accomplish several things. It keeps your audience engaged by addressing the health topics that they can relate to, that they're interested in. It also answers questions and educates, as we talked about. It also showcases your knowledge as a practitioner and lets users get to know you as a physician or others on your staff. So at the end of the day, it's instrumental to your brand. And having that blog also provides some benefit to you from an SEO and from ranking in a search engine. So having that blog increases your chances of ranking higher in search by 434%, according to TechClient. So lots of benefits that accrue to you from a blog. And then the blog also gives your website new, fresh content. And Google loves new, fresh content. And that can make a huge difference in terms of your search rankings. And we'll talk a little bit about how the algorithm works a little later on and how a blog helps that. So if you are out there and you want to put it into the chat, what are those topics that you do blog about? Feel free. And we'll take a look at those or read those stuff in a little bit. But there's lots of sources for content for your blog, and we'll review some of those now. Here's how you can, here are some of those topics that can help you to stand out from those competitors. So the best place to start is just the frequently asked questions that you get in your exam room, or that your staff gets on the phone, your nurses get on the phone. That's your medical blog should also include some of the key phrases, the key search terms that would come up during those frequently asked questions. So if you have a cardiology practice, let's say in Peoria, your blogs might cover an array of topics related to the best way to maintain your heart health, maybe nutrition, following a heart healthy diet, what are some of the most advanced cardiac treatments that are out there, the benefits of different types of drugs. Those are all things that would be worthwhile to blog about in that type of practice. Anyway, you would list all the broad topics and then whittle down those topics, those frequently asked questions, into a list of things that you can post about on your blog, put it into your blog. You can hit on trending health topics. What are some things that are out there in the ether? What are the things that people are talking about? A lot of times celebrities have their own health causes that they're very interested in and talking about. Piggyback off them. If a celebrity is in the news and talking about something that's health related to your practice, you can use that as an opportunity to add content and get in and be part of that conversation. If maybe you're a big Jimmy Kimmel fan, you're always watching Jimmy Kimmel. Hey, if Gwyneth Paltrow is getting on and talking about something, get in there, give your a viewpoint on what it is that she's saying, or what she should be saying, or something like that. Be part of the conversation. Take a look at the latest news. What's happening in the environment. What are some of the things that the public is struggling with from a health standpoint. What are some upcoming health events? Maybe your area has some free clinics and health screenings. You can use your blog to notify people of those and promote those. If you're interested in heart health, you can also talk about what are some of the big upcoming, walks, fundraisers, that are coming up that people can, participate in and take part in. You can talk about those national health months that come up. We have Cancer Awareness Month in October. You can talk about your medical specialty, topics that are important to you and your medical specialty, and you can also talk about practical health tips and advice as well. All very good topics to include in your blog. In some practices, it's the provider or maybe particular staff member that writes blogs. But unless they're blessed with good writing skills and plenty of time, who has plenty of time, sometimes practices will go with a freelancer and have a freelancer write a blog, or they might use a medical marketing agency to manage and write their blog. But really, at the end of the day, everybody within your practice is just swamped. doesn't have the time to write a blog and keep up with it, often it will fall by the wayside. It's not the number one priority, even though it should be. And again, we'll talk about some of the reasons why it should be a priority. So blogging can promote your clinical services, improve those search rankings, and attract new patients by offering them relevant content that they're interested in. Can also provide them with the latest research that they would be interested in on their condition, latest health tips, things that they can do to get them healthier and better be able to combat whatever illness it is that they have. You can even talk through important treatment success stories. If some of your patients are willing to talk about it, they can talk about their struggles and the issues that they've had. That's great content to be able to put into a blog. Gives prospective patients an understanding of what that treatment was like, or what that level of care was like for particular patients. That's a great thing to be posting to a blog. But whether you write the blogs yourself, hire a marketing expert, creating blog posts adds pages of new content that search engines like Google love. Anytime you get new pages, the bots that are crawling for Google will find those pages. They'll be able to index them on the blog, and then that content is available to be searched. And depending upon how well it's written and how engaging it is, and how people are clicking on it and consuming that content, that content will be found, and your practice will be found by those curious potential new patients, if that makes sense. It can build trust and relationships. It can inspire some referrals if you have really good content from your current patients. Hopefully, when you post a blog, you're putting it out on social media, other places where your patients are following you. And those are things that are all shareable as well. So you can get referrals from current clients that way, current patients that way, and obviously attract new patients that are searching for your practice or practices like yours. So big thing to keep in mind is that your readers should always come first. The main reason potential patients leave a website is because the content is boring or difficult to consume. You're writing it for those patients. You're not writing it for yourself. Your patients are busy, and so it pays to present your blog content in a format, in a way that is easy for them to consume, easy for them to understand. Skip the medical jargon, please. Not everybody reading your blog has been through years of med school and residency, etc. These are people that many of them, they never took an AP biology or chemistry class, let alone last time they touched biology or chemistry might have been 30, 40, 50 years ago. And most people can't read beyond a 6th or 7th grade level anyway. So that's why you just have to avoid the technical language at all costs. Try and make it simple for them to understand. You also want to avoid long, thick blocks of text. Use, maybe 1 to 4 sentences when you're writing paragraphs. Your mobile users especially will appreciate it. You also want to break up your content with great headlines, maybe some images in there. Use some white space. White space is your reader's friend. It gives their eyes a chance to rest. Images give their eyes a chance to rest, give their brain something else to process, a different type of content to process. And readers shouldn't have to squint or zoom to see your content. Make sure you're using good fonts. Use some bold and italicized fonts as well to help a reader scan through your content as well and drive key points. You can add hyperlinks within your content as well, help readers to go deeper either within your site or find other relevant content to them. All those things are going to help your readers, and the more engaged they are, the the Googles of the world will see that, and your page will start ranking up higher as well. So then for those of you that are on the call, we want to understand a little bit about how often do you blog. So just going to launch this poll real quick. And if you're blogging, just tell us how often you do blog. Yep, and we're seeing that the majority of you only blog when you have time. Yeah, that's 100% of you, and that's not surprising at all. Very busy, and there's not much that you can do about that unless you want to go to a freelancer or an agency to be able to provide you with the blog content. How often should you blog? Hey, many folks out there believe you should write a blog daily, at least once weekly. Look, the real answer is the frequency depends upon you and your practice. Smaller practices have found comfort in success in just writing a single post a week. Some people, see success writing 4 times a week. I think you just need to figure out what works best for your practice and your constraints. There is some data out there by HubSpot, which is a big digital marketing platform, that says, look, publishing 16 posts per month, that's 4 per week, get you 4.5 times more leads than publishing just once a week. So that's something to consider. But I think at the end of the day, how often you blog depends on your type of practice as well. So, talking about resource constraints that you have internally, we're talking about the type of practice you have. So a general practice, primary care physician, they get general health questions. They're usually the busiest providers at the end of the day. They post generally 1 time a week. That's fine given their time crunch. They can write about the general health issues, answer most of the questions that they hear from patients in their exam rooms. The specialists that typically get more specific questions, ideally they should post as often as possible. 2 to 4 times per week is probably preferred. The best way to stimulate topic ideas is to do a quick Google search. Take a look at what other people are writing about, and you can incorporate some of their topic ideas into your writing. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. There's some unwritten rules, and I'm not even putting them on the screen because that's how unwritten they are. No, I'm just kidding. But I think the biggest piece of advice I have there is also watch your competitors. If you have a competitor that's blogging 2 or 3 times a week, then maybe you need to be blogging 2 or 3 times a week to at least try and keep up with the newness and the freshness of content there. If you really want to drive towards higher growth, take HubSpot's advice and blog or post 4 times a week. Again, you don't have to do 5,000 word posts each and every time. You don't even have to do 5,000 word posts. Try and get 1,000 words, 800 words out there to at least get you going. For steady growth, maybe twice a week is fine. If you just slow growth, just do once a week. At the very least, blog 1 time a week. Make it a goal. Do it 1 time a week. Hit that goal for 2 or 3 months. Pat yourself on the back. Good job, you've done it. And after 2 or 3 months of doing 1 time a week, now try and stretch and do 2 times a week, and try and hit 2 times a week. Get into that rhythm. The more you write, the more you post, the faster it's going to become. That's definitely something that we see when people are blogging, and I encourage you to do that. So set yourself a small goal of 1 time per week, or even if you want to start out once every other week, just set a goal, hit it, and then try and exceed it in subsequent months. So start with good research. How should you structure and develop a blog? Well, start with some good research. Grab a thought-provoking idea. Make a thought-provoking headline, and a lot of times you can ask it in the form of a question. You know, why these 7 tips will lead to better heart health, or something like 3 great exercises you can start your day with to promote flexibility, something along those lines. A lot of times, if you have some type of number, um, you know, 3 ways, 5 ways, 7 ways, or 7 hints, whatever the case may be, that's something that people can wrap their brains around, and kind of clickbaity. We all see on our phones all kinds of clickbait. The reason you see that clickbait out there, it works. Use that as some of your inspiration. But if you have a good copywriter, will usually have great ideas for good headlines to match up with the topics that you have out there. Then once you've identified your topic, thought about your headline, then maybe add your 3, 5, 7 key points. Write them down, and then after you've created those 3, 5, 7 key points, then start writing more detail about each one of those key points. And that's a great, easy way to build your blog. Then at the make sure when you go back and review that you're including some of those keywords that your audience are going to be interested in. So if you're writing about a particular treatment regimen or particular symptom, make sure you're including that within the body of your text at least a few times. If you can get them in on your headline and on your subheadline, that's even better for you from a search engine optimization standpoint. And then finally, make sure you're hitting that 6th or 7th grade level, and make sure that at the end of your article you have a call to action, a message that is basically telling the reader what to do next. And it could be, call me to schedule an appointment, or visit this page to schedule your appointment. Always make sure you have that call to action. And then a lot of practices, which is always a really good idea, at the very bottom, put in a paragraph, an evergreen paragraph that you can put in at the end of every blog that talks in high-level detail about your practice, what the key standout feature or benefit of your practice is. Don't make it really about you. Think about the feature and benefit in terms of what your patients want and need, and have that point be in there, and include some information about your location. Where Southern Illinois, the cardiology solution, or where the urologist specializing, or orthopedist specializing in hip pain, or in the Chicagoland area or something like that. Start bringing in at least some context of location as well. That will help you from an SEO standpoint as well, because a lot of people will search on keywords like hip replacement specialist near me, or hip replacement specialist in Peoria, or whatever the case may be. So it's always good to have that be part of your boilerplate at the very bottom of your blog post. So how do you optimize a blog for better SEO? I've talked about SEO, the benefit of practicing good SEO to get your blog up higher in the search results. So I won't belabor the point anymore about why they're critical, but rarely do users or consumers search beyond that first page of the Google search results, right? So making your healthcare blog rank higher on that first page is really a matter of selecting, the right keywords. And you can use some tools within Google to identify, what keywords are there. Choosing those right keywords helps you achieve, good results. I guess I'm being pretty redundant here. Google's algorithm looks at pages that are fresh, that are new, It's looking at how your patients or how users are engaging with those patients. So if they click onto your page, are they staying on that page? Are they reading through it? Are they scrolling through it? Are they then clicking onto another page in your website and going deeper in your website? The more engaging your content, the longer that session is going to be. And then Google is going to say, oh, this page is really relevant for what that user searched on. The next time another user comes in and searches on it, maybe that page will then rank higher for that search term. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not seeing much in the chat or the questions area. So if it's not making sense, just let me know and put some comments in there. You want to focus on long tail keywords. I'll go into long tail keywords in another minute or two. You want to make your blog mobile friendly and responsive so that it's going to adjust to whatever screen users are on when they're consuming content. And your pages are going to appear on your desktop or laptop in a way that's similar to how they appear on a mobile device or how they appear on the tablet, etc. You also want to make sure that you're using good images and graphics in your blog. I had said earlier that imagery and graphics are a great way to break up the text in a page and keep the user kind of refreshed as they're reading through, because they're not just reading blocks of text. You want to add fresh content regularly. We talked about frequency as well. So just some hints or tips there. So let's hit long-term keywords, which are long tail keywords, which are essentially key phrases that are longer than 3 words, and they're more descriptive, they're more precise, more focused into what people are searching for. They have extremely low competition rates. So if you are writing your blogs and hitting on these long-term keywords, you'll have a better chance of having quality traffic drive to your website than if you just use a 2 or 3 word keyword, like orthopedic surgeon, let's say. Long-term keywords account for about 70% of all web searches, and that number is trending up. So people are comfortable typing in longer phrases and more precise keywords. So that orthopedic surgeon, if that's the keyword that people are typing in, there's so many people that are typing on that. There's a very high competition rate for it. Wouldn't it be better for you to focus on a keyword that's like orthopedic surgeon for hip replacement near me, or orthopedic surgeon for hip replacement in Peoria? That type of thing. It's more specific. It will capture that type of patient that is going to be more interested in your practice or in your content and what you're writing about, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So how do you benefit from long tail keywords? There are many benefits there naturally, and I think one of the biggest that we hit on was that low competition rate and quality of the people that are coming to your site versus the quantity. We also have better conversion rates that you're going to experience from these long-term keywords. Again, your content is more relevant when it appears in search results. You'll see better click-through rates there, and you'll have more personalized searches by the user. Long tail works really well with Alexa or Siri because it's more conversational in tone, more the way people speak. And then long terms there's a variety of different variations when people are entering it in that you benefit from. So that's really all that I have to say about blogging. If there's anybody who would like to learn more about blogging and the solutions that we have here at Practice Builders, give you an opportunity to say yes. Feel free. If you would like to learn more, let us know. Someone will reach out to you in the coming days, and answer your questions. Okay, I think I've given you enough time there to answer. You can always put something into the chat as well if you want to hear more. And before I finish up and go to any questions that you have, now would be a great time for you to put into the questions or into the chat whatever pressing question you have. Anything that I said that you want to clarify, now's a great time to do it. And then I just want to remind you that Practice Builders has been helping healthcare practices to achieve profitability and success since 1979. We're the oldest healthcare marketing agency in North America. We've consulted with thousands of healthcare practitioners across every specialty on the face of the planet, from medical, dental, eye care, hearing care, different physical, occupational, speech therapy, you name it. We have some robust digital media solutions that can give you a strong internet presence. One of the major keys to attracting new patients. We provide complete website design, solutions, search engine optimization, reputation management. I mean, it's all there at the bottom of the slide if you want to understand what we're into, and we'll help you take your marketing to the next level. And so with that, we can take a few minutes to answer some questions for you if anybody has any online. Feel free to enter them into the questions section there or on the chat at the bottom of your screen. So a lot of people ask what it takes to start a blog. I think the biggest thing is to just have a goal in mind of how frequently you want to blog. What is your goal? Why are you doing the blog? Is it to increase your brand awareness, improve your reputation, show yourself to be an expert? Is it to drive leads and new patients? And if that's the case, then that can help you to establish some frequency goals for how often you need to do it. As I mentioned, once a week is generally sufficient. If you really want to try and drive greater growth, then 4 times a week would be sufficient. If you're really trying to build awareness, you're a new practice, that can be a great way to do it. The other benefit of having a blog as well, if you're creating content, is that you can then turn around and use that content on your social media. You can use it as part of a podcast. You can use it as, maybe you take that blog and you submit it to your local paper and have it added have them publish it as a piece or as a story as a benefit for their users, which expands your reputation. You can even take that blog content out and pitch it to your local TV or local radio stations and see if they want to have you on as a guest to talk about that particular topic or subject. They can include it in their on some of their web pages as well. Have you serve as kind of a guest blog offering the health advice, whatever the case may be. There's lots of great benefits to having a blog out there. Okay, not seeing any other questions come in. So with that, I want to thank you all for your time today. Hopefully you received the information that you wanted to about blogging. And we look forward to seeing you next month at our next webinar, which will be on Google Business Profiles and directories. So how do you get into, how do you establish your Google Business Profile? How do you establish your presence in a bunch of other directories? If you want to ask additional questions, going forward, you can always reach out to me at Practice Builders. smints@practicebuilders.com is the best way to reach me, and I'll be happy to answer your questions that you have. And otherwise, I hope you have a good rest of the week. Thanks again for coming out, and you can see this webinar again on demand if you want by going to practicebuilders.com/webinars/blogging. And thank you very much. Hope everybody has a good day.